Hey, everybody, this is Ramon Ray, founder of SmartHustle.com. Thanks for listening to another exciting episode of the Smart Hustle Podcast. Jason Miller, CEO of Gettr, a brand new app. I'll call it in my words, but he'll say it better than his. All about free speech, maybe more. But Jason Miller, welcome to the Smart Hustle audience. And so let's dive into it, Jason. What is Gettr? There's so many apps in the market. Of course, Twitter and others have been around for years. Clubhouse, I've been on. Now we have Gettr. What is Gettr and why are you so excited about it?
So Gettr is a free speech platform, and really our ideals, if you believe in free speech and you oppose cancel culture, then we want you to join our platform. It doesn't matter what your political affiliation is. It doesn't matter, quite frankly, what country you're in. Most people don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican or I'm a liberal or I'm a conservative. I mean, obviously there are different parties and different countries and ideologies mean different things around the world. Here's what we want. We want a platform where people can come on and talk with their friends and family, and also to get breaking news updates and different things. That's what brings most people to it. But we want people to be able to have those discussions knowing that their political speech will never be infringed upon or deplatformed or canceled. And I think after this last year, we saw a number of things in both the presidential election, and then I think there's just been this overall movement in cancel culture, and even in a lot of ways, time machine cancel culture. We're going back and saying we saw this with Ricky Gervais, with even talk about the original episodes of The Office, saying, well, we'd probably be canceled today. Just this whole notion that we're going to go back in time machines and cancel people in this current day. I think this is really setting a slippery slope and a bad precedent. We want to bring freedom and democracy around the world. That's really what we believe in. We want people from all affiliations and all political stripes to join this platform. And again, if you want to have fun, if you want a piece of good looking technology, and we're going to grow to so many more things beyond just this back and forth on ideas. And we're excited about some of the features coming up.
I love that. I'm going to check it out as well and see this brand new app. Let's talk about the polarizing sides of what free speech may mean. As we said before I hit record, I think we'll arguably agree. Somebody yelling, at least the Supreme Court said, there's fire, or I don't know, is not so good or frowned upon, whatever. From your perspective, Jason and Gettr, what are things that, if you could imagine, it's newly launched, where you'd say, Ramon, this we won't have, even though maybe it's free speech or not, we won't have this, but this is something, we don't like it, it's distasteful, or they're an idiot, but we'll allow it. If you can unpack from your perspective what's allowable or not, if you understand what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, no, it's a great question, because I think where we can point to is where some of the big social media oligarchs, kind of the big boys on the block, have gotten it wrong, much in many ways. And I think that their political judgment too often clouds or influences how they look through the speech lens. So it a rough rule of thought. Speech, people should have the complete right to free speech up until the point where it then starts to do harm to somebody else or infringe on somebody else's ability to have speech. So say, for example, if you walked into a restaurant and threatened to physically assault someone, well, there'd probably be some consequences. We can't have people coming on and threatening. Same thing, we don't want people with making racial epithets. We don't want people going and doxing or dumping personal information. So they're always going to be, it's kind of on a case by case. It's tough to do with a complete broad stroke. But again, there's even the debate going, for example, on language. Okay, there might be some language that I'm not the biggest fan of. But look, if it's playing in say, for example, the 10 p.m. hour on cable TV, might not be language that I use. But that's free speech. Here's what we want to avoid, because of course there have to be certain standards that are in place, and we have a robust moderation policy, a proactive moderation policy, I would add, where we have both an AI component that picks up on certain words, and then a human component that then reviews it. Certain things, if we're just trying to get to it, goes up to an executive team, and then certain things, whether it be images or words, even make their way up to myself, for example. Obviously, we don't want people say threatening to commit some kind of terrorist act or wishing someone inflict self-harm. So that's one of the things where we want to make sure that there's some community standards. But what we don't want is for people to go, and if they express their political belief, look, can be take an issue with the way the government has handled certain aspects of, say, COVID-19. It could be people who raise issue, for example, with even on the debate over cancel culture. I think that's one where we've seen too many people. If you're expressing your political opinion and you're not infringing on somebody else, then I don't think that's, whether it's a Silicon Valley tech overlord or myself, who is neither a Silicon Valley, or a giant, to come in and say, I disagree with you, so you're not allowed to say that here.
Yeah. Is it fair to say, Jason, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I'm hearing is that where in your opinion, things have gone wrong is that, take Ramon. Jason's saying Ramon's an idiot. Many of the platforms, for example, are saying, no, Jason can't say that. That possibly could be allowed on Gettr. But where somebody's saying Ramon's address is here, harm his family, that Gettr may not allow. Maybe I was wrong way, but is that a good way-ish to say that?
Yes, although look, I would look at from a little bit of a different aspect on the things that we allow people to talk about. And when we talk about, the whole reason for having this is because we also want to make sure that people can share ideas. And it can be, I mean, we saw it too often in the last political campaign. There are certain stories that would be suppressed by when the media and tech get together. I personally think that's wrong. I think that it's wrong when people are shadow banned. I'll give you an example. Dinesh D'Souza, who's a conservative commentator, has joined our platform. I followed him on Twitter. I would never see anything that he posted. And I see he joins Gettr, and then I see him all the time. And I was like, okay, this shadow banning is real. And the way they work over on Twitter, they work the algorithm and all these things. Look, we want a place where people can feel welcome and comfortable, come and express their opinion. I don't want all right of center people. I don't want all people just from the US. I want people across the ideological spectrum and around the world.
Yeah. And I think last question, Jason, and again, feel free to say anything else you want to say, but I want to respect, you have a lot of probably going on today, but I guess last question, are you sad at how America's going, or are you hopeful? Meaning there is a lot of people who say, I have an opinion, you should not wear masks, or I believe you should. Whatever my opinion is, I think it's a fair opinion, and some platforms to say that you'll be banned or it's wrong, whatever it is. So I guess in that light, are you hopeful or are you kind of sad? Is this maybe the best course that you can do to have a solution for it? I've asked a lot of questions in that, but what does Jason or Gettr feel with the tone of America today, if that makes sense?
Yeah, and the great thing about being the CEO is that largely my opinion becomes the opinion for the company. So I kind of get I can do both. Yeah. Here's what I believe. I think that if we go and try to tell people they're not allowed to discuss certain things or not have robust debate, they're still going to do it. They're just going to go do it off in a corner. They're going to become, like secret meetup groups. And look, that can be on the right, that can be on the left, that can be anybody. What I want is to make sure that we don't go and push people into some corner saying that your perspective is no longer allowed. I want everybody to debate these things. The other thing too is, let's just be honest about this. There were a lot of things, and I think COVID was a perfect example, where a year ago it was politically taboo, so to speak, to go and take one opinion, and then all of a sudden maybe some emails, maybe some files, maybe some additional science research is done, and oh, okay, well, actually those people were right. And so let's have the debate. Let's give people that outlet. And again, not just here in the US. I'm thinking today of the news in Cuba, for example. I want Gettr to be a platform for Cubans who love democracy and love freedom and oppose the oppression that they're currently under to join this. I think of the students in Hong Kong who are being oppressed by the CCP. I think of anyone who embraces free speech and opposes being deplatformed or cancel culture. This is a platform for you. And so it's fun. And as you know, with talking about startups, there are all sorts of fascinating things. Startups are kind of a lot like starting campaigns, except campaigns have a term limit on them. They have an election day where they expire. Hopefully this goes on for years and years. With fastest ever social media platform to 1 million users. We did it in 3 days. And it's really exciting. It's great to be here and have a big, broad, diverse team that I'm working with and folks all around the world. And I'm glad to have a front row seat for it.
Appreciate it. Jason Miller, CEO of Gettr, thank you so much for spending time with us on Smart Hustle. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.